The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. What up, though? Greetings from the city that is the D. It is your boy E-Buck in the building, the Nighthawk, checking in. So y'all know what time it is. It's Wednesday. Time to do that show we call Gametime Audible. We are here ready to kick it with y'all this evening, talk about these sports. There's so much to talk about. Can't wait to get into it. Of course, we cannot do the show properly without the one and only, the man, the sports guru himself. Y'all see him over there rocking that gray. That's my man's though. That's that dude, Hugh Lee. What up, Hugh?
Hey, what's up, man? I've been busy the last 48 hours, man. I wouldn't want nobody from work watching this broadcast, man. Shit, I think I did like 20% work, the rest doing all this information and all
Say
this good
less,
news.
bro. Politicians been convicted for worse. You done said too much already, man. Stick to your job at the moment, guy. What you got going on over there? What we talking about?
Man, we definitely gonna talk about both free agencies. What surprised me was when the baseball came back up, and then it was like the next day they dropped into free agency, and it was right around the cusp of when the NFL was going to do their free agency. So it was a lot of sports news and a lot of transactions going on right now at both NFL and the NBA. NFL and MLB.
Okay, then
Come on
keep
now,
in mind he talking free agency, but I need to throw a third thing in there. Look, they already started, Hugh.
oh
Von Miller
yeah.
to the Bills. Look at him. Already ready to jump
You
into it.
already knew I knew that, baby. You know I'll be putting that news out there.
So that way you want to start? You want to go there? Since the people that already threw the audible in there, you might as well go and get it started there, bro.
Most definitely. I was telling you, Ian, this was before they got Von Miller over there with the Buffalo Bills. And it was another sneaky deal, too, that you ain't know about. They got the former Buccaneers tight end, O.J. Howard. So then, and I seen a hint, and I hope that hint finally comes. It's getting closer to official. You know what time it is. Yeah, man, the Von Miller news definitely didn't surprise me. I kind of figured that they was like in trouble as far as having money. I believe once they got Jalen Ramsey that contract, and they was getting these pieces to the puzzles, they've been hit on like salary cap space, man, and they've been trying to do restructuring and all. But I kind of figured that they was gonna lose some big names, and Von Miller is a huge name, definitely going over there to the Buffalo Bills, which now he's gonna be in my man's Mac Jones nightmares.
Well, keep in mind, I already gave you a little thought process in regards to what I think the Rams doing over there. But let's talk about the Von Miller right quick. I really think the Bills made a solid move here. It's not you're not getting Von Miller from 5 years ago, okay? When he was everybody's nightmare, when he was basically the second or third best defensive player in the NFL. You're still gonna get a pretty decent Von Miller, though, I think. One that hopefully will not be suffering from injuries like he has last couple seasons. So that definitely adds to what they got with the Bills roster. I'm actually more interested in see what's going to happen with that O.J. Howard move. I really think he did not get a sufficient chance to show his full potential over there with the Bucks. Because truthfully, you already know once they brought Gronk in and you got TB12 in the house, he going there, okay? It's
That
like
was his security blanket.
it's it. And then of course when Break came on and him and Brady had that chemistry, that pretty much put OJ Howard on the side there. So I think this is an opportunity for him to revamp his career with the Bills. I definitely see a scenario where he gets some nice catches coming on from that rifle from arm that they got over there.
It's going to be a nightmare for New England, man. And I told you before, even this Von Miller trade, ended up getting OJ Howard. Just think about it. Now you got Dalton Knox and OJ Howard, man. That's a problem at the tight end position. And they already had a good receiver over there. And I just think it's going to get ugly, man. When you have.
Well, here's the thing, you. I say don't sell your Patriots so short. Remember, I would say out of any coach in the league, Belichick is the best at player development. Granted, he'll frequently an occasional free agent or somebody that's kind of on the outs with other folks and get them another opportunity in the league to kind of show their worth. But he is very good at not only developing the young players, but also getting just enough out of those free agents to where, okay, I got you. Now, before you start to cost us too much money, let's get you up out of here. The one exception, of course, is when he let Tom Brady go. That probably wasn't such a good move.
You know what, too? Well, my issue is with New England right now, and I'm rocking the New England Patriots jersey, but don't get it twisted. This is a Tom Brady jersey. I didn't get my Tampa one yet. But speaking of, I just don't feel like they do a lot and they don't support a lot of their guys in-house. Think about all the moves they did last year. They got the 2 tight ends. They got Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. They end up going after Matt Judon, which was a hell of a deal. And then you know that actually helped them out last year, man. They were striving with him. They end up getting Kendrick Bourne, which was one of those sneaky moves because you see that he developed a little bit better, man. What I liked about him, too, not really trying to get too much off the topic, as he said, Bill Belichick made him be a better player. He taught him about the nutrition and having a nutritionist and being hydrated because he said a lot of times that wasn't his, ordeal. And all of a sudden, that's when things picked up when he wasn't even playing if he wasn't hydrated enough. So he basically taught him how to be a professional over there. So, yeah, I give that to them as far as the development. But you're getting guys, you're giving them big paydays from other teams around the league, and you ain't taking care of in-house, man. Speaking of J.C. Jackson, man, I really was like, damn, he one of the top 3, if not top 2, cornerbacks in the league. So I was like, man, I was a little surprised with that. I knew they weren't going to overpay for him. And I think he was still in the market. That deal was kind of like the Byron Jones deal that he got with the Miami Dolphins, which I still don't really think was that over the top.
Now, see, Hugh, I need you to do something, man. You going to throw a lot of names out here. You got to start telling people who these people are, what position they play, what team they went to.
J.C. Jackson.
We got our diehards like Gregory here that knows what's up with everybody. But
J.C. Jackson, my boy, man, cornerback from New England who actually moved over to, the Los Angeles Chargers because New England didn't pay that man. And that's something I didn't like. And I see them doing that often, man, where they will actually get players who are not in-house and pay them a big payday and don't pay the guys in-house, man. I definitely seen that happen too much, man. And I'm starting to get a little frustrated with that.
All right. And then, of course, Gregory also mentioned Chandler Jones to the Raiders. Where was Chandler Jones last year, Hugh?
Chandler Jones was with the Arizona Cardinals.
Exactly. I'm really starting to wonder what the hell they doing over there, man. It's like, they was remember last year at one point they was 10-0. They was looking real good. Now they went to the playoffs, basically got thumped, and everything breaking apart over there. I think this is a make or break year for not only the quarterback but the coach as well. If they don't make the playoffs, I think they get rid of both of them.
What I believe that happened too was they were already saying they wasn't going to pay that type of money for Chandler because they felt like Chandler Jones was going to be too much money, and that's when they start to separate themselves. But let's be honest, he went over to the Las Vegas Raiders, and they got Patriot ties. What changes always remain the same. They end up getting a guy that he's familiar with. Speaking of the coach over there who left from New England, who was their offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels. And that's what I think it was. There's a lot of familiarity over in like these places, man. And that's what you're starting to see, guys paying their guys to come over and play for them.
I have hope for Deshaun Jackson. May he land at a good spot. He deserves it. Your thoughts on that one? I think he means Deshaun Watson, actually.
Watson? Oh, man, you know me, I'm a hater, man. Wherever he lands, long as they ain't in the NFC, I'm good.
Well, I want to dig into that a little deeper in a minute, but talk a little bit more about some of the other free agent signings out there. Remember, it's a lot. We got to kind of keep it moving, Hugh.
One of my favorites is the Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack going over to the Los Angeles Chargers and joining J.C. Jackson. I felt like that was a huge deal for them because they needed another pass rusher outside of Joey Bosa, and now they have it. And then with Derwin James, I'm
Yeah,
thinking with
yo.
their coach Staley too. That's where all the familiarity comes from because he was the defensive coordinator over there with the Chicago Bears, which where Von Miller came from. So it's a lot of familiarity in that move too. But the people who were doing the most moves to me, who were effective, I don't know if people just felt like they were just throwing money all over the place, or I just think that they were making some pretty good moves. Was actually the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. Started
Yes,
my man
sir.
Christy Kirk leaving the Arizona Cardinals. That's what you were saying. It seemed like they blowing that team up.
Right.
He's a heck of a third wide receiver over there, man. But I feel like he should have been second because outside of D Hop, I really don't really feel like AJ Green really did anything. It was like he was still learning that system. But yeah, man, they're really cleaning house over there, man. To get Christian Kirk, then they turn around and they got Darius Williams today from the Los Angeles Rams. Those are guys just kind of leaving and going to new teams. He was a hell of a cornerback too, and people don't give that guy a lot of credit because he wasn't really throwing too much to his side either. Speaking of, we seen a lot of times when my man Jalen Ramsey got toasted this year. You just gotta recognize that guy, man. And Darius Williams was going. I knew he was going to make a decent amount of money, but him going to the Jaguars and them getting all the players they got, and they end up getting Evan Ingram too, the guy from the New York Giants. Yeah,
Right.
man. I think they were making some really aggressive moves, and it's pretty good because at one point they had a really solid team and had to let a lot of the guys go, blow them up because of cap casualties. But now they starting to make one of the strongest moves in the free agency.
I mean, going back to some of what you just mentioned, first of all, Jacksonville, they switching it all up, baby. It's like, you know what? People don't even care about football here no more. We got to fix all that. Shout out to my Poco Cuz checking in. What up? What up, Jules? What's happening? But check this out. Here's the thing that we got to remember. Remember, once upon a time, a few years ago before COVID, when the NFL started talking about expansion and expanding to overseas and expanding
Hmm.
to Mexico, you know, the first two teams that got mentioned in that, one of them, of course, was the Jacksonville Jaguars because their owner has ties to things overseas, because he also owns a soccer team or two over that way. Think about it. We improved Jacksonville. We improved what's going on. We're not so much concerned about winning the South or whatnot. What we're trying to do is get the brand good enough to where when we make that move over to London and have that decent team to contend with, where everybody over in London has to come deal with us, and we got the home field advantage because our stadium holds as many as the big house. We might be working on something long term here. So when you really think about it, this might be not necessarily a move for now, but a move for the near future. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely can agree. I think one of the losers in all of this too, when it comes to the free agency, has to be the Dallas Cowboys, man.
Exactly.
I
So
didn't like the moves they did. It's like you're
me
going to
neither,
let them
man.
walk, and you're going to get a guy who's a Michael Gallup, who's a decent receiver, but he's not better than, the Amari Cooper that you just traded over to the Cleveland Browns. And then
Mm-hmm.
on top of that, you mess around and you pay DeMarcus Lawrence, like a 3-year, $30 million deal, but then you overpay
Damn.
um, for Randy. What's my man, Randy?
Yeah,
And
Randy
when you did
Gregory,
that,
exactly.
yeah, you get Randy Gregory all that money, and then it didn't even last long because of whatever they say about him and all his drug habits and smoking marijuana. His agent's a beast. They seen the funny writing, and with the funny writing, they were saying if he do anything like drug related or get in any trouble, it'll violate his contract, and his contract could be void. And that's when they end up getting a call from the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos said, "Hey, we'll match that same contract, but with the 28 million guaranteed with no voids." And that's what he ended up doing.
Yep. Good
So,
by them, man. I mean,
but
bottom
that
line is you want the guaranteed money. You don't want some iffy, what if this, what if that happens. So good news for Denver. Y'all got y'all another good one to replace your boy. Bad news for Dallas is y'all starting to not handle all the proper business. But you already know
was
Cowboy fans, they ain't gonna care, man. They still thinking they going to the Super Bowl. They always think they're going to the Super Bowl. I don't care what moves they make. You know this. Cowboy
yeah,
fans out of hand. Rest in peace.
definitely some bad moves.
H2, our favorite Cowboy fan. But no, dog. Cowboys, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but it's time for them to wake up, dude. For real, for real.
One of the issues too, the reason why your boy left, and I want to talk to you about that. That's why I wanted you to get those stats that I told you to get
All
and
right,
put up.
let me go ahead and throw them up right quick, Hugh, while you talk about it. Hold on.
Okay. The funny situation was that
Check this out, y'all. All right, go
after the
ahead.
game when they lost to the 49ers and then they went packing, it was an altercation between Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper said, man, I don't know why they look at you like you the best player on earth when you're not really nothing but a black man's Kirk Cousins. They said when that happened, he was pissed off and they, almost got into a fight. And when that happened, that's when I believe they ended up hurrying up and trying to find a partner to trade for Amari Cooper. And that's the funny
Yeah, they had to get him
thing.
out of town quick, bro.
I didn't understand that when at first when he said he was like a black Kirk Cousins, but when you look at the stats and you see him side by side, man, it was probably the most accurate thing that you could say when it came to the two players.
All right, now what y'all looking at is the numbers for the playoffs in particular. Y'all want to look at there at the bottom. One Kirk Cousins and one Dak Prescott. If you compare their numbers quarterback wise as they have performed in the playoffs, you see that you got Dak that's done a little bit better in terms of the yards and the touchdowns, but ultimately same rates, interceptions about the same, quarterback rating about the same. So if you think Kirk Cousins is a decent quarterback option, then you're probably not so much concerned about that. But basically, considering how much they paid Dak Prescott as opposed to Kirk Cousins, you start to wonder, Dallas, did you really do the right thing? Not to mention the fact that there are other deals out there. Remember, back in the day, there was a certain young quarterback coming out of Oklahoma that Jerry Jones really liked. And at the rate it's going, he might actually be available if certain people go to other teams. You know who I'm talking about, right? You?
Oh yeah, you talking about your boy Baker?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that sob story crap that he put up today, I was kind of disappointed with him. I know he wear his heart on his sleeves, man, but some of that stuff was a little unprofessional because when you look at it, we're going to compare that to the Jimmy G situation when they already knew they was going to get Trey Lance and at a high pick too. If I'm not mistaken, he was like the third pick. And when you look
Damn.
I said I didn't understand that they were, looking at it, well, he looked at it like he did because we already knew that he was out the door regardless. It was just the fact that what happened was he just got a good opportunity to play before Trey Lance came in. But he was quite the professional about everything. You ain't seen him put nothing up on Instagram or Twitter or anything of that nature. But what I like is the fact that he stayed, professional. But when it comes to Baker Mayfield, man, he want to have this sob story about thank you for having me here in Cleveland. And I want to, be here with the team, and I appreciate the love, whether I'm here or whether or not. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. And it's like, it's not even set in stone yet. You don't know where Deshaun Watson wants to go. He still got the Atlanta Falcons and the Saints to think about. It may be another, sleeper team that comes in the mix, but I just feel like him being unprofessional like he is and the way he act towards people, it definitely justifies OBJ leaving that team and turning around and getting the Super Bowl because I just don't feel like he's that guy who I thought he was going to be. And I got to eat that, E, because I was telling you before the season started that I thought that he actually made good, progress as a quarterback. But it seemed like once he got hurt, and I don't blame it all on being hurt because a lot of players hurt this the NFL. But I just think that he didn't do enough to make me a believer. And at the same time, I feel like that's what happened in the Browns organization.
I mean, bottom line, the Browns was definitely that team to beat, and they was going to the Super Bowl and all of that. And now you look at all the moves being made by the other teams, and you thinking, what do you think of the Cleveland Browns now? Close the door on them, bro. It's over with. I think they're about 3 steps away from having another rebuild going on there. I mean, bottom line is, when all is said and done, Deshaun Watson not going to Cleveland. I can almost guarantee that. I'd almost put my whole money on that much. But some of these other teams, and here's the instance, who knew that Atlanta was going to jump up in this mix? Now, it's being said that all the teams that Deshaun Watson is going to talk to, they already got deals in place with them. It's just simply giving Deshaun the opportunity to pick which one of these teams he is willing to go to. So that is the interesting part of this deal. And it's still being said there's a couple other teams seeing what they can get together and jumping in there at the last minute. I still say Detroit Lions, hello. Y'all might want to knock on that door and see what's going on. I'm just saying, proven commodity. You know what I'm saying? 3 years, Pro Bowler, as opposed to picking. Don't even say it, Hugh. Don't even say it. Bottom line, I'm going to be highly upset if the Lions pick any quarterback in the first 4 rounds of this year's draft. Don't do it. Don't do it. You better off going to the USFL and picking the MVP and have him be your quarterback. Also, another option, by the way.
You know what's crazy too, E? What I noticed that they've been rewarding the people who actually did well last year, the Detroit Lions.
Mm-hmm.
One of the advisor moves I looked at, and people were like they didn't really know about that pick yet, and it was kind of iffy. The DJ Shark move. It's like, but they're so bipolar here, like the Detroit Lions fans. They were like, man, we need to get a wide receiver, whether it's in the free agents or whether it's in the draft, and then they get a pretty decent receiver to me, DJ Shark. And people like, oh, who is that? Why did they get him? And I think he did a good job at Jacksonville.
Keep in mind, we still don't have no number 1 receiver, okay? I think Shark, if healthy, he's a very strong number 2 option. You already got St. Brown, who is definitely going to be our slot guy. We re-signed Reynolds. I like that move as well. He is definitely a good 3rd or 4th receiver, but I still say we need that number 1 guy. I'm still hoping that if certain people slip to round 32, like Olave from Ohio State, for instance, or your boy who is currently injured from Alabama, we get one of those 2 people down to 32. I definitely want them to pull that trigger, because then I think we're working with something. But at this point, it's nice to see, though, that the Lions are making some type of movement, that they're not just sitting pat and saying, okay, we're going to try to develop what we got. I really think the goal for this year's Lions is to double up and win twice as many games, because they will not be the worst team in the league. I think it's some very good candidates for that. But the lead candidate from what I'm looking at right now, them damn Seahawks, what they doing, Hugh? What they doing?
Man, when they end up losing my man's Russell Wilson, I felt like when we talked about it, I said, man, damn, what's going on with all these picks, man? Denver gave up a lot. They gave up 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, and a 5, and they got Russell and a 4 back. But when I saw that, I said,
they gave up the tight end too.
Oh yeah. I was surprised Denver did that. At first, I was a little mad because I do like Noah Fant. I thought he was exceptional with Iowa. But Noah Fant, Kirby Harris, and it was Noah Fant, Kirby Harris, and somebody else. I missed Drew Lock.
Right. And you got to think that whoever get Deshaun Watson, they're going to be giving up at least that much, if not more.
I had to agree. But Denver not playing over there, man. They make some pretty good moves themselves, man. Some sneaky good moves. And I think Russ was just basically the icing on the cake.
Right. I mean, they already had a solid team to begin with. If the division hadn't been so tough, they might even actually made the playoffs last year. But the problem is getting those close games, and that quarterback play came back to haunt him.
I really thought that Von Miller was going to go back home because I know you heard the rambling of him saying, man, what number should I wear? Should I wear 58 or 40? You know, I want to know if my old locker there, man, I want to get my old locker back. He was kind of hearing the rumblings, and bam, he turned around and he went to the Bills. You know, that money talks, E. But the whole shaky incident, the situation over with Dallas cost them big time too, because Randy Gregory going to be over there now, and he'll be right there with Bradley Chubb. And we never really got a chance to really see Gregory's potential yet because he was injured, and then plus he couldn't leave the weed alone. But yeah, I think that's going to be a real dangerous team, and they building a champion over there because I felt bad because I was already saying they got Cortland Sutton over there. I forgot all about my boy Jerry Jeudy, you know. So yeah, they trying to get stacked over there in the AFC West, man. And
Right.
it's crazy because of the fact is I still don't feel like Kansas City did a lot of good moves, man. And at the same time, it's a possibility that they might lose to Mathieu, man. And if they lose him, man, the heart and soul of their defense, it might be a problem. I know they restructured contract recently to Frank Clark, but I don't know if that's still enough to keep some of those guys over there with the huge contract that Patrick Mahomes have.
And then they let go to Honey Badger, or at least they talked about letting go to Honey Badger.
Definitely was talking about it as a cap casualty on June the 1st. Another cap casualty where I got to eat crow too, E. And don't laugh at me, man. You know, we all make mistakes, but at the same time, he still probably get an opportunity too, man. They released Julio Jones today as a cap casualty and with the Tennessee Titans.
Well, I think that's two things. One, they feel like they bread is butter with the running game. So not only do they have the big fella, I would not be surprised when they get to their pick that they draft another running back, especially if you got like a K9 available out of Michigan State. Imagine putting them two together in the backfield.
I wouldn't. I don't want to. That's a nightmare.
Scary. So yeah, I'm real interested to see who they're gonna end up taking with their first pick. But that being said, I don't think they got anywhere close to the production out of Julio Jones that they thought they would. So all that being said there.
And AJ Brown is in that game.
Especially if they get Deshaun Watson back, if Julio Jones decides to go back to the Atlanta.
I definitely wouldn't be surprised because he'll probably come as a cheap option now.
Right.
After the whole thing.
For the cheap, I wouldn't be mad at the Lions taking a look at him either.
Yeah, I wouldn't even lose no sleep over that, man. And then I know if you didn't hear already too, then rumors pointing around them being interested in Atlanta, the Falcons, with the just recently released Cleveland Brown wide receiver Jarvis Landry. He got released because once Amari Cooper came over and they had to pick up their contract, he was just a cap casualty as well because they felt like he was making too much money. I think he had $15 million at the end of his that last year. And I just feel like they looking at it like they want to move on, and his productivity hasn't really been there.
I mean, bottom line, I don't think it was so much the cap casualty. I think it was the production based on the damaged goods. Last couple of years, he has been very injury prone, much like Odell actually. And because of that, they figure, okay, no, we should not invest this kind of money into somebody that's only going to play 10 out of every 17 games. That's not going to do it. I mean, bottom line, if you don't end up getting Deshaun Watson and you basically roll your dice and go ahead and run Baker out there one more year, Baker got to show up and show out. I say probably no other quarterback in the league will have more pressure on him to perform than Baker Mayfield, with the exception maybe Jimmy G, is San Francisco actually decides to keep him.
Crazy thing that you mentioned that too. I'm glad that you mentioned that all about Baker Mayfield. It's not really looking too good for Baker, man, because what I've been hearing too is they were saying that even if they don't get the Deshaun Watson deal done, that they still want to trade Baker Mayfield and get him out of Cleveland. And Chris Mortensen came on today and said something on ESPN where he was saying that after that happened, when they were looking at Deshaun Watson and he made the, I'm a be the best, I can be the best quarterback I can be, whether it's in Cleveland or somewhere else, taking my snaps. It was told to me that they said that they were looking into a Jimmy Garoppolo because they want an adult at the quarterback position, not a little boy. And he can't handle it.
Just sad, dog. Just real sad. I mean, the whole. I seen a little statement by Baker. Well, I'm not saying I'm gone or anything, but I just want to say thank y'all for letting me be me and all of that. Bottom line is Baker still making money. Progressive must have paid this dude a ton of money because I swear they did about 30 commercials with this guy. He right up there with your boy Patrick Mahomes and the doggone Aaron Rodgers with State Farm. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm surprised too because he ain't really put that productivity out there on the field.
No, when
Did
it
you
comes to
hear?
the actual play, it's like pop over balloon, bro, for real.
Did you
But
hear about the
okay, go
trade?
ahead, you.
You heard about the trade too with Yannick and Goku going to the Colts?
Okay, not quite as familiar with Yannick Ugoku. Could you tell us who that dude is?
Yannick Goku is one of the premier defensive ends. The thing is, I believe he got passed around a little too much prematurely. It all started when we seen his productivity when he was with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he ended up leaving Jacksonville via a trade because at the time they was trying to blow up that whole team. So he was one of the ransom pieces that they had, took over to Minnesota. Minnesota thought that they were going to be in a better position than what they were, didn't play so well. And he went to the Raiders, and then that's when the whole thing blew up on him when they got Chandler Jones. And then now that's why he's going over to the Indianapolis Colts. But I didn't like the fact that the Colts are not trying to make any more moves because right now, when it comes to salary cap space, they got the most money.
Exactly. Because, like I said, if you want to compete at this point, particularly the AFC, you got to look at it like
give me my money.
People looking for their money, man. Everybody else over there getting paid outlandish money over there, particularly when we're talking about AFC West. When you look at Khalil Mack and Chargers, and you got what's happening with the Raiders going on, you see Denver all in. They didn't push all their chips to the middle. So, like I said, if you are a fan of the AFC West, you're gonna see some real competitive, good games. And Patrick Mahomes, your grip on the AFC West, it might be coming to an end, bro. It ain't gonna be no easy pickings like it's been the last couple
No,
years.
not at all.
You're gonna put in that work. So there's that. And that being said, another good spot perhaps for Julio Jones will be Kansas City because they definitely need another receiver over there. No doubt.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they're gonna double up and triple up on the cheetah, and that's gonna make a problem. And Kelsey can only do so much.
Yeah, and they got a man's over there too. Josh Gordon, but man, he just a blunt or a sip of alcohol away from being out the league. Again, how many times y'all gonna get this guy chances, man?
I mean,
Loser.
Straight up. Dude's a loser. Like I said, when you think about the opportunities he's had over the years with Cleveland, with the Patriots, and now with Kansas City, and there's another stop in there I'm forgetting. I mean, bottom line is you setting yourself up for the big payday, and then that
The
one
Seahawks.
day, and that one day you decide to go on ahead and be like, you know what? Ain't nobody gonna know. I'm gonna roll up. Next thing you know,
Loser.
and you out on the sidelines again. Come on, man. Get it together over there. And let us not forget, somewhere lurking in the wings, wait for everybody to forget all his transgressions, is one Antonio Brown. Somewhere down the line, somebody's signing that dude. They're gonna be that dude.
Because talent trumps everything. And when that guy's right, which he hasn't been right for a long time, he's one of the best receivers. At one point, he was the top receiver in the league with Pittsburgh, man. That's why I still give so much respect to Mike Tomlin, because we never knew what this guy had to go through, because that dude was a basket case.
No doubt. No doubt. And like I said, AB about AB. So if you don't make it about AB, he gonna make it about AB. And are you really willing to go through all that in order to get a quality receiver, because we know his foolishness aside, he is definitely one of the top 10 receivers in the NFL, no doubt about it, in terms of his
Absolutely.
productivity. But you got to deal with all the side crap that go with it. That's the problem. That is the real problem.
E, let me stop playing with you, man. Let me go
All
ahead
right.
and bring everything right now and put it out there on the table. To me, one of the best free agent moves, I don't care what anybody else think, was getting Tom Brady out of retirement. I told you
Man, why on earth did we have to wait so long for this? We
what
already know. What jersey you got on right now, sir?
Tom Brady.
So why on earth we didn't wait 37 minutes into the show for you to talk about your guy? You know you
I
love that
definitely,
dude. Come on now.
I definitely want to shove him down all the haters' throats. That's what I wanted to do. Proud of you listening. How you doing, buddy? But anyway, I still feel like the fact that when I was talking to you, I said I just didn't feel right. How many times I told you after we did the show and I said, yeah, he's I believe going to retire. I told you several times after the show, I just don't feel right, man. It didn't feel right. And you know the competitor Tom Brady is, man, losing the game like that after being down 24-3 to come back and get the game tied, to lose the way they did when the defense just disappeared. They played the biggest Houdini act in the world. I was definitely like, man, they still had an opportunity, because if that game would have went different and the defense could have got a stop and they went down and kicked the field goal, then they played, they had a chance to play in the Super Bowl.
I mean, bottom line is, yeah, I saw that same post. You know you my guy, Pride, you know. But when I seen what you posted, I was over here talking about, because I know it was all type of salty that's going on. I just picture Salt Bay in your background talking about, because I know you do not like young Thomas Brady, not at all. But that being said, I say young Thomas Brady because I feel like in his mind, that's what he's feeling like. If you're gonna feel bad for anybody, feel bad for Giselle and the kids, okay? Understand. I think at this point you got to recognize that Tom Brady is the man, not only in the NFL but in his house. Okay, I know Giselle did not want this dude to go back and play football. I know the kids was enjoying time with their pops, but in the same token, I get this image of him just sitting there about a week later, watching NFL prime time all day, working out in the gym. Like, Dad, I thought you weren't gonna worry about football no more. Just thinking about it. And I know probably about 2-3 weeks in, it was like, yeah, dude. I'm thinking about going back. I ain't gonna lie to you, Giselle. I love you, baby, but I can't do it. And I think at first she was like, no, honey, don't do it. We got plenty money. And then one night Tom was like, lay down. You gonna who the man? You the man. I'm playing. You can play. Next thing you know, here he go. Now I got the shades on because I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. Nor am I surprised. If you go back and look at that show when we talked about it, I said, would I be surprised if he came back at some point? No. Was I surprised? Nope. In fact, when they first reported, I was like, I knew it. The problem I got with a lot of the talking heads had a problem with. Why did you wait to that particular day at that particular moment to announce you was coming back?
He got exposed by Ronaldo.
Understand? Yes, we know that midnight was coming, and that was the beginning of the free agency signing. So that's part of why you said it. But we also know you have your own podcast that comes on every Monday night. That would have been the perfect time for you to announce you was coming back. The only people you had to tell was the people in the Bucks organization, and kept it on the. Can y'all keep it on the hush hush till tomorrow so I can announce it myself? And him being Tom Brady, they would have granted that request, no problem. But no, Thomas had to take the thunder away from the tournament by announcing that right as they was announcing Selection Sunday what the team was. I felt that was kind of messed up. And Tom is a sports fan enough to know that that wasn't cool.
Yeah, he definitely pulled that rabbit out of his hat, man. They showed like the whole Ronaldo conversation when they were there and he was giving his son Jack the gifts. And he came up to him and said, "So, hey, what's up, Tom Brady? You good?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm good, man." And he was like, "Damn." He had that look on his face, like, "What is he about to ask me?" And he said, "Well, are you really retired, man? You don't plan on going back? Are you really done?" And Tom paused and kind of had that look like, you know what? He's like, "Do you think you come back to play?" And then he kind of looked at him and said, "Probably." And I was like, man, it blew up the internet. And then out of nowhere, it wasn't even 24 hours later, really, when he announced the comeback story.
Right. But see, again, one of the talking heads was pointing out the fact that when he retired in the first place, it was a couple days after the fact that they leaked it. And I think at that point when they leaked it, he still was kind of considering one way or another. But because of everybody's reaction to it, he decided, you know what? Yeah, let me just go on and do it. That way we get it on out the way. But I think in the back of his mind all along, and I think Giselle believed this too, that he wasn't done. I don't think Tom Brady is done until he is done. And I'm not talking about to where his play start to go down a little bit. I'm talking about they're going to carry that dude out on the shield. He's going to go ahead and knock on wood, have an injury to where it's like, yeah, I can't rehab this and come back. I'm done. So at this point, if Tom can stay healthy, I see that fool playing till he's down at 50. As crazy as that sound in this day and age. And understand with him doing that, that now puts the pressure on any other quarterback that gets close to that age, such as an Aaron Rodgers, such as a Russell Wilson. Yeah, can you play the 40? There's a lot of money out there. Now, granted, if you are Aaron Rodgers and you are Russell Wilson, y'all don't need that money. Y'all done made $200 million plus in the league each. But that being said, it's something about that competitive nature that is football. I mean, think about it, Hugh. You know, you played the PAL leagues and whatnot. I played a little bit out there in the neighborhood. To this day, I see them play, and part of me think I could pick up that football and run a few plays. And I mean, I know I can still throw it. I tested that the other day, and I still think I can play a game or two with the kids, knowing that if I do that, that next day I'm gonna be sore as hell at 51. But you know, you be thinking, yeah, I can still run that ball a little bit. Admit it, Hugh.
Oh, absolutely. I still be like, man, I can go out there and throw it with them boys, man, and
So,
get
you know,
them.
us not being no real athletes, imagine how the people that actually could do that. Remember, we talking about Tom Brady, who threw for 5,300 yards last year and damn near won MVP. So,
Should have
yeah,
won.
I can't quit on them numbers. I got this close to actually making it to the Super Bowl. I can't leave it like that. So, yeah, I agree with you. That's what it was.
You know, he was doing some sneaky recruiting himself when he came back that day. Soon as he came back, it wasn't even a few hours later. Ryan Jensen, his center, signed a deal, and then like not even 24 hours after that, that's when Carlton Davis, the cornerback, signed a deal. And then it was like you start to see the dominoes fall, man. You know, and one of the sneaky good picks that they got and people slept on was the Russell Cage kid from the Atlanta Falcons. The reason why I know because when Atlanta was playing the Buccaneers, he was toasting their secondary.
I remember that because when they played the Lions, he was toasting them too.
I said, who is this Russell Cage kid, man? This dude, he got speed. He nice, man. This dude is not that bad. I was like, Atlanta need to hold on to that dude because they got something special in him. And next thing you know, I look up and then I see it on my phone and it says report. Brady called Russell Cage to recruit the wide receiver to the Bucks. You know, and that was like one of the pieces I still felt like they was missing because, you know, we still going to have to wait on Chris Godwin to fully recover. But now that you have three receivers that you could depend on, once you know God would get healthy, you got your Mike Evans you can always depend on, and then you got this kid Russell Cage, who was a lot of people don't know. Well, you know, he'll definitely know him this year. I think they did actually a pretty good.
I believe Scotty Miller's coming back too, right?
Huh?
They got Miller coming back too, right?
Oh yeah, he definitely there, man. They got a pretty stacked roster, man. And when I seen they were getting my man's OJ Howard to let him walk, I was a little disappointed. But Yeah, I definitely see Gronk coming back now, man. And if you ain't see it yet, I think one of the best things that they did, because they lost one of their guys, and Marquette, they lost him, and he retired. And one of the guys left. Alex Kappa went to another team, got recruited from another team. Look, the money was talking to him. But Shaq Mason going over there, man, a familiar piece with Tom Brady.
True.
Who's a guard. They missing the guard still, but I thought the Shaq Mason deal was so big to get that trade. And I said, damn, New England, what's wrong with y'all? Not only did they give him to them, but I think it was for like a 6th-round pick.
Right.
Right.
And speaking of people coming and going, I definitely want to give this dude his respect. Mr. Wentworth over there with the Rams, who announced his retirement yesterday. That dude's been a class act. The league gonna miss him. He represented the NFL well. I wish him much luck in his future endeavors. He is basically going to spend a lot of time working with his nonprofit organization that helps young kids. I really think that it's good to have role models like that who have had time in the NFL and basically have given people the opportunity to talk to them one-on-one and be mentors. It's a couple people that play for the Lions who at one point was in one of his camps, and they basically have given him nothing but props for saying that, hey, I'm in the league because of you, bro. It was because of you, Big Went, that I decided to play football. So, yeah, when I see stories like that as opposed to all the crazy stories in the NFL, it makes me feel good. What about you, Hugh?
Always make you feel good when you see somebody who had that motivation and actually, can be uplifted from another person giving him their due. A lot of times to hear that from kids too, man, to see that you are impact and influence on their life, that's huge, man, because I'm not even an athlete or a star or anything. I feel like I'm just a regular brother trying to make his ends meet, man. But one of my boys, Chris, man, he was in high school, and I always used to ask him, hey, man, how's everything going, man? I know it's rough, man. Just stick it out, man. Stay in the books, man. Stay in school, man. There ain't nothing else better for you. And when he finally graduated, he told me, Hugh, what was some of my motivation besides my parents was you being a guy who just got out of school told me that you almost there, man, crossed that finish line. And that made me feel good because, I'm like, man, I talked to him and kept that in his head, and he listened. And now my boy got a nice family, kids, and he got some athletes of his own. His little boys playing football, and they some bad brothers, man.
Yeah, it's crazy how you could just feel like you basic person. Hey, I would tell y'all in a minute. I'm just E. I mean, Lord knows I have my share of troubles and situations and things I need to do with my life. But when people come up to you and tell you that they're inspired by you and what you're doing, I definitely had that discussion with somebody last week. Shout out to you. I will keep you anonymous, but they basically said that they were proud of what I was doing with the network and that I have a voice. And, it's nice for me to kind of come out of my shell. They know me from when I was a child and I wasn't quite so boisterous as I am now. And they just was really thankful that I was out here doing this thing. So thank you for that comment, and I appreciate it. But, we just basically doing that. It's voices out here, and we talking about things from a perspective that you don't get in the main news media. And we happy to do it every week. We have a lot of fun doing this. And basically, we're going to put more work forth. We got some things in the work so that we make it a better and better platform. So thank you for that. Speaking of working on your platform, my man Hugh, he has his own platform that I want him to talk about. First of all, Hugh, I need to know if we're going to start to see some news about the upcoming USFL season here on Pure to the Game.
I definitely want to work on that, man. Pure to the Game will definitely be having a lot more of that on there because I'm really intrigued with the USFL. Definitely was happy when I found out Steve Fisher was going to be the coach. He's a respected person, in my opinion. I felt like they kind of played him the way he left the game of the NFL, and it was over a knucklehead who's not even in the league anymore. Vince Young, I'm going to definitely call you out.
Yeah.
But definitely want to see what happens with the USFL, and it's going to be something that's intriguing to us because now that the XFL is trying to merge and do something with the NFL, I definitely would like to see USFL try to merge and do something with the CFL to expand their horizons. I think that'd be the only move right now that they should do.
And right, and imagine if you will, you have both of those leagues somehow become like a minor leagues for the NFL. I think that would be great. Absolutely. Not to mention when you talk about expansion and you look at some of the teams that the USFL has in markets that normally don't have such teams. I think, for example, when you look at Birmingham, no matter what type of team they field, I think that's going to be one of the loudest crowds in the USFL because they love their
Absolutely.
football down there in Alabama. You know that. So
Yes,
I'm
sir.
definitely looking forward to seeing them games. I believe, in fact, that their opening game is the opening game for the USFL, either on Fox or on NBC that week. So I really want to see what the crowd and stuff looks like when they get to playing. And hopefully it's not junk. I mean, remember when we talked about that spring league last year? And I'm
Yeah.
curious if they do that again this year. You know, it was actually some decent football. It wasn't like some of that other junk that then came out over the years, like that American Football League. That was trash. But that spring league wasn't that bad.
Yeah, that American Football League was terrible, man. It didn't even last. But I was disappointed too because I felt like the XFL did so well, and but then COVID kind of shut everything down because we still didn't know what we was dealing with, and people still don't take it serious. But I'm not gonna get into that because we don't want to. Get on that topic. We got the people who, will complain about us talking about it. So we're going to get back to the fact.
Yeah. But that being
Um,
said, y'all, that's still gonna come up in the show. Don't worry, because we're not just gonna talk football all night. If y'all thinking we're gonna do that, don't worry. You got some other stuff playing. And when we get to that part, we're gonna have to have that discussion, Hugh. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get there. But
okay.
yeah, like I said, you see, it's been a lot of movement in the NFL again. If y'all want to be up to date, because keep in mind, this dude, he been up in the middle of the night like me. But instead of him trying to do podcast stuff and whatnot, he working on his pet project. That's Pure to the Game. So make sure y'all check that out. As you see that like button right there, make sure you like it so he knows that you are involved. Make sure that you are sign up for it. Basically, any move that is being made, he was pretty much on it right then and there. And sometimes I'll go there and send you some information and then go on Pure to the Game. Like, he already knew that. Why am I wasting this dude's time? He know what's going on. But yeah, you in terms of the commentary, would you like to see more people comment on the articles that you put up?
Absolutely, because the one guy I do like to mention, even though he threw a lot of mad faces when I said Tom Brady return is my man's pride. He definitely interacted with me, man, whether it's football or basketball. And I got love for his homeboy Embiid. And I know he's a huge 76er fan, and I know he appreciate that. But yeah, it's been a lot of good stuff that I've been putting on there, man, and I've been loving it because I'll put something up and I'll say, "Hey, you guys at the job." They know I went. They know I was mainly on that all day the last few days, and I'm like, "Okay, check this out," and I tell them the news, like Khalil Mack went to the Chargers. And they like, nah. I was like, yeah, he just signed with him. Like when I told you about my man's Von Miller, it was like maybe 6, 7 minutes before ESPN. They've been coming a little too late. They need to get a little quicker with the news, man, because I'm trying to put it out there, whether it's the baseball news, which I got a ton of that, and I have a lot of the NFL stuff that's going on as well. So I just definitely been up, man, day and night, and I'm off tomorrow too. So I'm gonna definitely be up all
Yeah,
night putting up stuff,
between that and the tournament, I already know what your day look like. But
man.
that being said, y'all, if y'all like a lot of good sports information beyond the realm of us, SiriusXM is now a free app as well as a app you can sign up for. I highly suggest that you go to your Google Play and sign up for it. They have a lot of the previously aired shows that you can sign into. Like if you want to check out First Take or Shannon and Skip Undisputed, I always entertain with that show. A person that does not get enough credit for his ability to analyze situation is Colin Coward. He is definitely one of the best talking heads out here right now.
Yeah, I agree. Agree.
Of course, you got Jim Rome, and then you got my guy JT the Brick. I love Brick, man, and he comes on late night. So yeah, if you want to check out some of that stuff, and particularly some of the previous episodes, if you sign up for that SiriusXM app, go on and check it out. I also suggest you do that, Hugh, because they also have some extra channels on there. One of them is the opera channel, and I know you have been kind of checking out opera lately. I think you might be into that, bro.
Oh, definitely will check that out, man. Glad you said that. Definitely hit me with that news.
Will do. But that being said, we got to take this quick commercial break, y'all. We talking more football when we get back, or we ready to jump into some other stuff, Hugh?
We got to squeeze into that MLB free agency, man. I got some. You guys are already did some deals right now too, man. Just a couple recently.
Yep. And like I said, I'm ready to talk some baseball. I'm so glad baseball coming back, man. I can't wait. We gotta go. We gotta go to these games, man. They
you know I'm with it.
Stadiums, and I drove past there today. Oh, I was just itching to go into that damn sports shop and buy me a jersey or something. We definitely got to gear up, bro. We definitely
gonna have to get some jerseys when we go to a game.
For sure. But that being said, we'll talk about all that when we get back, y'all. This Gametime Audible. That's my man, the sports guru, Hugh Lee. You see, he know his stuff. You see, he down. He got all the sports and NFL broke down. Let's see what he do with this MLB when we get back after this short commercial message. Let's see. It's been a minute. Let's play some of them interludes from that Buck Beats. Check it out, y'all.
Yeah.
Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, a residing pastor at the River Rouge Bible Assembly in River Rouge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love.
Behind the Blue Curtain, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello. It's another glorious day, my T-Sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comfort together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
Nikki.
Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Nikki. Nikki.
We're not asking for your permission. We're not seeking your approval. We're claiming what's ours in the name of our ancestors. We are their answered prayers. This is more than a movement. This is a revolution. Black innocence. What are yours today?
The views and or opinions expressed here on Gametime Audible is that of the host and or guest, and does not necessarily reflect those of the Nighthawk Network or its affiliates. Viewer and listening discretion is advised. What's going on, y'all? We are back. Gametime Audible in the building. You got my man, the sports guru Hugh Lee over there. And of course, you got your boy E Beezy ready to talk some more sports. What we talking about now, Hugh? What we got?
Man, we're gonna talk about a lot of the free agency moves, man. That was going on in the MLB just recently, man. Some big names been moving teams, man. One of them, I don't know if you're aware of right now, man. Chris Bryant signed to the Colorado Rockies for 182 mil.
Oh my, that's a great move by Colorado. Understand, ever since they let my mans go over there to St. Louis, I really felt like they needed that big booming bat in the lineup. Chris Bryant is definitely that. Of course, the good thing about him, he is multifaceted. You can put him at third. You can put him at first. You can put him in the outfield. And, of course, now, because we had the universal DH, you, of course, could have him at DH. So then, of course, you got to remember it's Colorado. That place is a firecracker box. Basically, you put a little pump in it, and it's up out of there. And with the kind of power that Chris Bryant possesses, that might be a 50 home run season every other year for him. So I definitely like that move by Colorado. That's a good deal.
One of the moves I've seen too, was I've been pleased to see this team make moves because they were so good last year, and I just felt like they fell a little short. But we didn't even have those high expectations of them when they did as well as they did. Was the San Francisco Giants, man. They signed Jock Peterson, and it wasn't really for a big deal. It was just for a 1-year deal for $6 million.
Well, the thing is, it's something about Jock Peterson. He had them weeks. I mean, because he ain't one of them streak. I mean, he had them weeks where he'll go on like an incredible tear. But then the rest of the year, he'll kind of just be there. You know what I'm saying? Not that he plays bad, but not that he stands out. And with him being on the Dodgers and basically being primarily an outfielder, and, you know, the Dodgers done had outfielder after outfielder after outfielder for years now, it basically says that, okay, let's try something different. So this is let's see what happens deal with him. He comes in, does the job, and then, of course, next year, probably get that 4 or 5 year, $100 million deal, you know?
What's going on, Ro?
Bro, checking into the building. What's going on, Ro? We always appreciate what you come on through. Thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast this evening, bro. We are talking baseball right now, baseball free agency. What else you got, Hugh?
Man, my boy Andrew Mccutchen, always love this guy, man. He been a little injury prone recently. He been on like approved deals, but he's going to be on the team with some heavy bats, man. I'm looking forward to seeing him play with the Milwaukee Brewers, man. He signed 1 year, $8.5 million deal over there, and those guys always have a laser show over there, and I'm interested to see what he's going to do over there.
I think that's pretty much a deal to make him a utility extra outfielder. Of course, now, again, because we had a universal DH, you probably could hit him there as well from time to time.
Still.
You know, he still got some pop in the bat. He still got a little speed up on the bases. So, you know, he probably make a pretty good pinch hitter from time to time also. So, considering the price of the deal, I think that was a pretty good setup for them. I'm not mad at him doing that.
How you feel about my boy? He going back to his home team, man. And he didn't really sign for that much, but it was enough to keep him at bay. Zach Greinke going back to the Kansas City Royals, surprisingly.
Where it all began for Zach Greinke. It's amazing when you look at people who you would think wouldn't be in the league after a while. Zach Greinke was kind of that dude. I'm very surprised that not only is he still in the league, but he's still relatively effective. He didn't have that bad a year over there in Houston last year. And then, of course, you know, he bounced around the National League for a little bit. And, of course, Kansas City is where he did it. I kind of hate it because, of course, he always pitched well against the Tigers. So I'm not looking forward to seeing him on the mound when we come to Kansas City. But all that being said, I'm not mad at him going back home to finish up. I mean, at the most, he might be a fringe Hall of Famer even. So let's see what he got. But that being said, Kansas City, it's going to be a long year for them, okay? Basically, them, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, long year for all three of them squads.
I've seen Rose comment saying, "Do you think the team who won the World Series can repeat and win?" I'm not
That would be the
sure.
Braves. What do you think?
They possibly can though, because I'm glad Rose said that too, because it's about to lead me to what I was about to say too, man. One of the big deals to me was, and it was kind of sad to me too. It was like bitter with the sweet, the Matt Olson deal going to Atlanta, but that's where he's from, man. He's a young kid. I think he's only 27, and 27 in the MLB is relatively young.
Right.
But that being said, too, that left Freddie Freeman out. He's on the outside looking in. He's trying to find him a team, which I believe still he will be going home to LA, to the Dodgers.
I like that deal for them too. But that being said, Freddie Freeman definitely at this point one of the best left-handed hitting people, period, in the league. But remember, even without Freddie Freeman, they still got a very potent lineup over there in Atlanta. You still got the shortstop, Sandberg over there. Of course, you got Acuna Jr. coming back from the injury. You got Albies doing a pretty good job of hitting over there at second base. There's another kid that I'm not clicking in the moment in my head, but plays the outfield. He's a pretty good hitter in his own right.
Valera.
Right, and then the catcher, he ain't that bad over there in Atlanta either. And then, of course, that pitching staff is only going to get better. I think it's a relatively young pitching staff, so I definitely see them being a conversation, especially when you consider right now in the East, they got what? They got the Mets, and you got Philly that should get them a little bit of a run, but and then, of course, that other team in the East, I can't even think of who it is. That's just how bad they are. But it's a possibility, absolutely.
It's definitely a possibility with the Braves, man. That's a really good team.
Right.
I seen one of the deals too, and it was a sneaky deal, but I don't know how well the Diamondbacks are going to play. And I thought that this player, I'm not saying he wasted his time over there, but I was a little surprised because I thought that just like Zach Greinke, he would possibly want to go to a contender. It was Ian Kennedy, man. He's going over to the Diamondbacks.
And that's another dude that kind of bounced around a little bit. Was he not in Kansas City at one point? I want to say with Cincinnati at some point. I think that's one of those players that may not necessarily be full into championships. It's basically just happy to be a baseball player. That's why I don't think he mind being in Arizona, where it's actually a decent baseball town from what I'm being told. But all that being said, I don't see the Diamondbacks doing jack in the West. Remember, you got LA that's going to be good regardless of whatever move they make or not make. You got San Diego that made all those moves last year and still will be bearing fruit from that. And you got the surprise that was the San Francisco Giants last year. That should not be downgrading too much. So, absolutely, I see them having their struggles over there in the West. And then, of course, Colorado, even they didn't bump it up a little bit.
What's going on with the guys on the first day of spring training, man? It was kind of nuts, man. I looked up and seen Pete Alonso flipping over his car. And, I think he got a little banged up. It wasn't bad. They said he's still going to go to spring training. He's still going to play. But then my boy got hurt too, Fernando Tatis, man. And he's going to be out for a while. He had a setback. I think he got hit by a fastball in the wrist. And, yeah, he's out now.
Okay, Roll is asking a question. Did the Mets do any trading that would benefit the team? I also got a question for Roll, who's based out there in New Jersey.
Yes,
yes, Bro, with you being in New Jersey, my question is it more Mets fans in New Jersey or more Yankees fans? I'm kind of interested in that. But, yeah, go ahead, Hugh.
Yes, when they got my mans. When they got Scherzer to go along with that guy who could be the Cy Young winner any and every year, Jacob deGrom. Like I said, I was definitely hurt that Thor's not over there, but he could rejuvenate his career, revitalize what he had.
For anybody in baseball, it's that dude right there. I really want Thor to come back and be his full self with the 100-mile-an-hour heat and all of that. I really want that dude to have a good season. I like that guy.
Man, you and me both, man. I definitely feel like it's possible. They're definitely going to be good, man. Just the guy I mentioned, Pete Alonso, and then you getting Max Scherzer too. to go along with Jake DeGrom. I think that's going to be a pretty potent team, man. And then they got Adam Octavio too, who was taking shots at the Yankees just recently when he got signed over to the Mets. He said something as I see that they got a team in I see that they actually have a team in New York.
Yeah, and they got a couple of decent bats in there lined up for the Mets. He said, I don't know, I'm originally from the NYC. Okay, well, that makes sense. But yeah, I just wondered that, especially since, New Jersey don't really have a baseball or a football team. They basically, however, still have teams that play in that area. You know what I'm saying? Particularly with the football teams, the Giants and the Jets. I would really think that it would probably be more Jersey people that would be Jets fans than Giants fans, just because there's probably more New York Giants fans in New York City than it is Jets fans. I mean, just a thought on my end.
Oh yeah, E-Man, I want to ask you this, man. Do you think that if Philly signed Kyle Schwarber, do you think that the deal, and I'm about to tell you the money, it was a 4-year deal worth $79 million. Do you think they overpaid for that, brother?
I don't know about that, brother, but I'm starting to feel like they definitely overpaid for that brother that they got. You know who I'm talking about. I'm really starting to feel like
oh yeah, you stupid.
Overpaid for they got too. When we talk about big outlandish deals, remember the 3 that jumped off. You had your boy over there in California making $40 million for about another 12, 13 seasons.
Oh yeah, Trout.
You got that dude that is gonna make money till he like damn near 40. And then of course you got Tatis Jr. that signed. No, not Tatis Jr. The shortstop over there in San Diego that signed the big deal. I'm really starting to think that they are not getting their money's worth out of any of these, and as a result, we're gonna see less and less of these giant long-term deals. What do you think?
My man is gonna really pan out too, man, because that's my boy. I was just definitely surprised, but Bryce Harper definitely didn't step up to that deal that he made, man. He's making all that money, and it just seems like
right. Not that he ain't playing decent. He playing decent, but he's not playing worth that type of money.
No, and what's the sad part is, was it the year after he got dealt or when he left that that's the year they won the championship?
Yep, that is the year that the Washington Nationals won, right after he left.
Yeah, I really felt bad because I thought that he was going to be worth what he was, but I guess not, man. Maybe I was wrong, but I still feel like he got to go out there and put in that work as well. So I can't really look at it on the end of where we'd be like, well, man, we just thought that he'd do better. He ain't paying out. No, he got to put in that work when you get that type of money, man. You got to be the player that money say you are. Unfortunately, Trout's been injured, and he had too many setbacks to where he couldn't prove it. But we know that he definitely proved it when he was playing and when he was out there. But, yeah, I just don't really feel like he did enough, man. And I was a little disappointed because I really thought that he was going to do the job and he was going to be one of those players that lead us into the next generation.
I agree. Speaking of surprises, this is not necessarily a sports topic per se, but it is sports related. I got the Masked Singer playing on in the background, and you will not believe who got eliminated tonight. Guess who the Ram was, everybody? They unveiled the Ram. The Ram was actually Joe Buck. Joe Buck, the announcer, was on the Masked Singer.
How was he?
Apparently, he was okay for a couple weeks until they finally got him down. But considering the costume and how tall it was, that was the last person I expected to come out the Ram costume. Like I said, that's the one thing I can say the Masked Singer is doing a great job of. It is taking people from all walks of life and having them be on the show, and it's getting a lot harder to guess who is who. I really like that about that show.
Yeah, they do a good job of disguising those guys. Like with Terry Bradshaw, man. He did a pretty good job. Surprised me, and he lasted for a minute. I didn't even know he had a gospel album.
Yeah, like I said, it's been quite a few athletes. Remember, I think we had Oladipo on there one year. I want to say we had Russell Westbrook on there at one point. It's been quite a few athletes that's done the Masked Singer. A lot of multi-talented dudes out there, man. I'm impressed by that.
I want to ask you, man, do you think that they still going by that money ball theory, man? Because they let Matt Olson walk, or actually they traded him for some pieces for capital, and they traded Matt Chapman to the Blue Jays, man. And I'm like, man, what are they doing, man? It seems like they'll have to get
I
some.
no longer question the Oakland A's when it comes to the money ball theory. It's worked. They have been at least near the playoffs down there every season. I'm not surprised at all in any move they make.
Yeah, AB was on there, man. I forgot what AB was on there when he was on there.
Last finger as well.
Yeah.
Big chest.
Pickups to the Tigers, man. That makes some sneaky, pretty good moves. The reliever guy, that guy Andrew Coffin.
Yeah,
I like that move, man, and I really like them resigning Willie Peralta, man, because I've always liked him, man. I like the other Peralta too, and I thought that was the key, on there. But I just like the fact that they've been making sneaky good moves. They haven't been making nothing too flashy, but they've been doing a lot to try to build that team. And I think
I also like the fact that they decided to keep Fulmer in the bullpen. I think he will eventually become the ace of the bullpen at some point. Keep in mind, I know he might be slightly disappointed because, remember, he was Rookie of the Year as a starter and whatnot, but I think long-term it's better for his arm to have that guy come out the bullpen every other day throwing 97, 98 with a lot of movement. I definitely like that. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Tigers play this year. I really think they have a possibility of making that wild card at least.
How did you feel about my man's? Yeah, definitely. You know what? Before I even get into that, I'm sorry. I want to get into that wild card, man. Definitely the way they set it up now, man. That'll give us an opportunity. We don't have to be like 97 and whatnot, like those huge numbers before, man. We could be just eventually. We could be 500. We could be like 86 and 79, and now with the way they have it set up, you could still get in the wild card, and I think that'll be pretty good for us, man, because I felt like we wasn't that far last year. I think that we thought that they were going to be worse than what they were, but they surprised a lot of people, man.
I say at some point they need to look into cutting down the number of games. Instead of being 162, I do believe at one point it was 154. I think they need to go back to that number and then just make it a regular playoff at that point. Have a best of 5 in the first couple rounds, and then the best of 7 the rest of the way. That's what I would like to see baseball-wise. I'm really interested to see how some of these implementations of the rules are going to play out, particularly with the pitching clock and the fact that there's no bunting. Will that lead actually to less people stealing bases? But before we go on, I definitely got to discuss the situation in NYC. I'm really not liking how this is playing out right now. And remember, we said we're going to try to steer away from the talk about Kobe. As you notice, I've been talking about it less and less. I know that bums a lot of y'all out. But we got to bring it up at this point because right now, as it stands, if opening day starts today, if you are a player for the Mets or the Yankees and you are not vaccinated, you are not allowed to play. And basically the word on the streets is that's definitely going to be a bigger problem with the Yankees than the Mets because there are several of their high-profile players who are not vaccinated. One of them we assume is Aaron Judge, who spoke out on it the other day and basically did not confirm that he was, but definitely did not say that he was not either. So that being said, if they keep that going in New York, how is that going to affect both the Yankees and the Mets, you think?
Definitely not happy with that, man, because say, for instance, the Pete Alonso not vaccinated. That's a name I'm throwing out there who's one of the Mets premier players. I find this for New York, man. I love the Evil Empire, and Judge is my man's. That really, man, I would not like that. It's already trickling down in the NBA where, even though we'll talk about that briefly.
Right.
But I'm just a little disappointed with how they handle things. And I just feel like at some point, if the numbers are not as drastic, I think that they should definitely still consider, man. Because
here's the thing that really bothers me about it, Hugh. Understand, that applies for people who work regularly in New York. It does not apply to their competition. So you as a player for, say, the Rangers or whatnot, if you're not vaccinated, you're going to be allowed to play. But if you play for the Yankees, you are not. That's the problem I got with it. Keep in mind, it's different when you talk about Toronto. And Toronto, if you are not vaccinated, you're not going to be allowed to play, period. Home team, away team, ball boy, anybody come in the building. If you are not vaccinated, you are not allowed in the stadium in Toronto. I think if you're going to do it, that's the way you got to do it. All the way around.
You can't half-ass nothing like that, man.
Exactly.
Did you see the move with the Cubs did when they signed? See, what's his name? Seiya Suzuki.
You talking about the catcher Suzuki?
Yeah, I know you. Darvish was trying to recruit him heavy, man, and to see him go to the Cubs, man, I was like, that was a sneaky good move.
I'm not quite sure what we're gonna get out the Cubs this year. I'm really upset with them when they basically had the fire sale last year, just a few years off of winning the World Series. It's Chicago. It's one of the bigger markets in the country. You see what the White Sox doing over there. They basically are going to be in the mix to win the whole darn thing. But now you got the Cubs, and they basically then reverted back to their old ways. If I'm a Cubs fan, I'm pissed. We done got rid of Rizzo, and he done went to the Yankees. We done got rid of Bryant. We done had people retire over there. Lester retired, and it's just not a good-looking deal over there, all in all.
What I was surprised about, too, is, like you said, that the Yankees said, you know what? At first, I thought they were going to be one of the huge teams in the, whole sweepstake and trying to get some of the bigger name market people, on the market, which I still feel like they did some pretty good trades, too, and got good pieces over there. Back to Donaldson, deal.
Right.
But
you already know the Yankees are always going to be in the mix because they always going to be willing to go over the luxury tax because they have more revenue than most teams in the league. So when push comes to shove, the Yankees start to suck. They don't have no problems with pulling some trades and buying some contracts. You know how they do it.
I just didn't like the way they handled that Matt Olson deal, And I understand they had to do what they had to do because he was younger, but man, I didn't like the way they did my man's Freddie Freeman, man. I feel like they kind of left him hanging.
I don't like the fact that the Yankees traded Gary Sanchez. I understand he was strikeout prone, but that was still a good power bat, and consider Yankee Stadium, he was good for 30, 35 home runs. I don't understand that. He wasn't bad with the staff either.
It was some issues beyond that too. Either I know going on, and I've seen it a lot, man. I thought that he was going to be going last year. That's why I was surprised he stuck around as long as he did. But I think they looked at it like, man, for Josh Johnson, then let us go ahead and let's go and make this deal.
Yeah, but like I said,
one of the guys who I saw that was on a trade market too, man, and I think the Rangers was really trying to do their thing, man. To have one of the better relievers in the league, man, Brad Miller. When the Rangers got Brad Miller, I said, okay, I see they trying to make some moves over there,
Again, Rangers, another one of those teams, I'm not quite sure what we're going to get out of that. You got the West. I think this might finally be the year where the Angels do something over there in the West. As you know, they have put a big emphasis on pitching this year. That is why with some of the moves they made in regards to getting some of that pitching and the fact that, remember, last year when they had the draft, they only, in all 20 rounds, drafted pitchers. All 20 rounds pitchers. You got to figure that at least one or two of them might get a chance to come up to the big team by the time September gets there, or they might actually take some of that cachet and trade for a starter or a mid reliever at some point in the season. So that being said, I think the West is kind of up for grabs in the AL, and I'm surprised that not only did Texas not make enough moves, but I'm also, again, disappointed with the Seattle Mariners. They have not seemingly done enough to get on the other side of it.
They always seem like they're on the cusp too, man. They're never to the point to where they're not bad, but they're not to the point where they're like suck too. They're always like close to that 500 team, but they just never seem like they do enough, man, to keep their team in competition.
Right.
And that's
when you
the
think
issue.
about it, at one point, they had one of the better teams of all time. Remember, they had Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., A-Rod, oh my goodness, the DH, I can't think of his name at the moment, Martinez. I mean, they had a squad that would rival any squad in baseball all time. Oh, don't forget, of course, the great Ichiro was on that squad as well. We have went from that type of Seattle Mariners team to what we got now. It's a sad state of affairs. Like I said, the best team in Seattle, truthfully, is the Storm. And they don't get enough play because, of course, that's the WNBA.
Yeah, man. I was happy when my evil empire stood up and did what they did, man. Because at first I was pissed off at them too, because I was like, okay, they're not going after Carlos Correa. They didn't do anything with Freddie Freeman. There's none of the guys who are out there who were flashy names that they did something with. Usually, the Yankees work with those guys, but I don't think they're trying to overspend and overpay for a lot of those guys. Now, man, I think what they've been doing great as of late. That's why, like you said, and I can understand your frustration with Gary Sanchez, is the fact that they had a lot of home guys, man, that they were building from, the farm league up. And to not
and speaking of big contracts, that's wasting a lot of money. Giancarlo Stanton, I need you to be healthy this year and actually show up. You had your moments at times last year, but clearly they have not got their money's worth out of that guy.
Not whatsoever, man.
Aaron Judge, he is up for his contract this year, so he definitely needs to have a good season.
Yeah, because he hasn't did anything. I was definitely disappointed with Giancarlo Stanton, man, because they really thought that those two was going to be almost like Jose Canseco and Mark Aguirre and the Bass Brothers 2.0, and when one's, it seemed like playing in there, hitting their stride, the other one get injured, man. Can I have both of y'all play, man, and try to get me a Yankees championship?
I thought that was going to be the best 1-2 punch in New York since Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, for real. They had that type of potential, but we just ain't getting that out of them, man.
I've been disappointed, man. That's why I think we've been holding them back, too, man. How did you feel about, since we already talked about Josh Donaldson, man, but the blockbuster deal they did, they acquired Josh Donaldson, Isaiah Kenner, Falefa, and Ben Wervit. Did I say that right? I'm not sure. But and they in return got Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela.
Like I said, if we can get the real Gary Sanchez to stand up, the other team got the better part of that deal. But that being said, Donaldson is a solid MLBer. He's a good hitter. He's definitely good playing third base. I'm not mad at that deal, not at all. It's just certain teams that I really need to step up and put forth a better effort in terms of fielding the squad. Again, that's part of the problem that they had with the whole situation in regards to the lockout. They said it definitely benefited teams like Baltimore and Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Hell, even the Tigers that's not really looking to spend gobs of money. So they actually probably made money during the lockout to a degree. But that being said, it's certain people that they're not even trying to participate. Keep in mind, just owning an MLB team at this point makes you money, whether it's a good team or not. And I feel bad for people like out there in Seattle and Minnesota and Texas even. They're not getting no quality deals going on. I need them to put forth better effort to put a quality squad out there on the field,
What I like, though, man, regardless of a lot of the stuff that's going on, too, is the fact that some of the guys who were holding out thinking that they were going to get more money, that they're now in a situation where it's not looking too good for them. I'm noticing now teams are like, okay, this is the offer we have. You like it? No, I'm not interested. Okay. They move on to the next player so they won't get stuck trying to finesse or lure someone in and then end up not having anyone on their team that's worthy of being signed. And that being said, Carlos Correa, his price tag is a little too high, him and Trevor Story. That's
right. And they don't want him to sign at the moment, correct?
No, sir.
And that's why Freeman's still also looking for a deal at this point, right?
Yeah, I think eventually he's going to definitely go back to Los Angeles, Dodgers. But like you said, I don't know if I definitely, you know what? Yeah, that is the case. I remember looking on MLB Network, and they were saying for a guy his age, he's asking for too much, and that's the reason why he's still out there. Because Carlos Correa could have been with the Tigers, man, but the money that we offered him, which was I thought was
it's still being said that they are still considering the possibility of bringing him in, and basically at that point putting him at shortstop and Baez at second. Man, you talking about putting us right in the mix at that point?
I would like that, E, and that's to be honest with you, man. I'd be definitely happy.
That would definitely be some games to go check out at that point. But yeah, we gotta go ahead and cut this short, Hugh. You know we got to get to that NBA, man. We got to talk some NBA today. Come on, man. What you got? What you got, bro?
Man, I like the fact that when I seen some of the games as of recently, man, it was a little controversy at that Boston game, man, and they were striding, man. But at the same time, what I looked at was how good Luka is, man. Luka took them from being down a lot to winning the game, but at the same time, there was controversy at the end, and I don't think a lot of people like that. But it seemed like Luka got Boston number. He beat them 3 times they played, man. And most times it's him usually shooting the dagger. But this time I had to give it to Spencer Dinwiddie. I think that this time his 3-point shot gave them the lead. But yeah, they own Boston this year.
Boston is not putting forth enough effort on a nightly basis. You had a one night when you have people like Tatum hit for 53. I think Brown threw up a 40-point plus game not too long ago. And they look good them nights. But then there's other nights that they get to that part of the game and you just do not know what happens, but it all seems to go crash and burn. I would say that's very similar to what's going on with the Pistons right now. They was on a little run for a minute. But then these last few games, they started out and they be right there contending like the other night when they played Miami. And then the fourth quarter, they just don't show up. I don't understand what that is about Boston. They just don't have that killer instinct. You got people on that spot like Marcus Smart. He come to play hard every night. But I cannot say the same for some of his teammates, man.
Yeah, and it's like, man, you'll see them getting to points where they be in droughts too, and they don't do as well. I feel bad too because I thought that Horford would be a hell of an addition back. But now I'm starting to second guess myself on that. I think that his time has came and went. So yeah, I saw those games and it was a lot of good ones too, man. And I was actually surprised in seeing how well they were.
Well, if you don't mind, Hugh, I kind of want to lead part of this discussion on this one. I actually got a few pictures to show you, and I want to see your opinion. Okay. Because we done had some great games lately. We done had some people show up and show out these last week or two, and I kind of want to get your opinion on some of them. First of all, hold on, did I put them on here? Here we go. I want to talk about last night and what happened with this dude.
Stop it. Man, that dude been balling out of his mind, man. He had 50 points and he made history recently with 15 to 19 shooting, man. I've never seen that when you're not taking that many shots and still have 50 points, man. I was amazed with that. Then I'm thinking, man, he ain't going to be able to outdo that. This guy had 41 points at the half last night.
Understand what we're looking at, people. Remember, it's been a hell of a week for that dude, Kyrie Irving, okay? First of all, we had the game previous where he balled out and hit 50 on what team did they play that night? I don't even remember.
Was it Charlotte?
Yeah, that was Charlotte. He had 50 on them. Then, of course, they come back home. He, of course, cannot play because of the protocols in New York. And, of course, everybody wants to know what's going on with that. Then he actually shows up for the Sunday affair. Remember that Sunday was a primetime game. And then this dude right here decides, don't worry, Kyrie, I got you. And he shows out and hits 53. And I'm telling you, I watched just about all of that game. KD, by far, when he plays like that, is the best player.
Oh, yeah, when Kyrie was out?
Yeah.
Sunday. Man, when Kyrie was out, he was cooking that game. I thought they was going to possibly lose that game that first round. Kyrie.
When I tell you he put them on his back that game and took over, I'm talking about he was hitting from 3. He was hitting from the baseline. He was taking it in the post. He was taking it to the hole. He dominated, okay? He is definitely one of the best players I have seen play this game, period. He definitely had quite a game that game, okay? That being said, I'm like, all right, yeah, NBA cooking now. But then we get Monday night and we get this dude showing up.
Cat, man, he's definitely been helping that team, and I haven't really been looking at them like I should. And when I start looking at them, man, they're over 500 and they playing really good basketball, and they're pretty comfortable over 500 too. That's a team who I at least expected would shine as fast as they did. But you already seen him developing when they had Jimmy Butler. I think that kind of hurt his growth a little bit. That's why I believe that D Rose and Jimmy Butler had to leave the team collectively. And now you're starting to see this man shine and becoming his own.
Man, not only is he shining, he is dominant, okay? He is truly dominant. Basically, that night, he hit, well, I think it was like 7 to 10 from 3. Keep in mind, this dude at 7 foot actually won the 3-point contest. So he could definitely hit from long range. But then he dominated in the post. He went double digits in the rebounds. He had a complete game that night. They double teamed him, they triple teamed him. Nobody could stop him, man. If that dude play like that on a consistent basis, they definitely making the playoffs. If that dude play like that, they're going to be a problem in the playoffs. With just a little bit of help, they might be on to something finally in Minnesota. That being said, I can't help but think it's Kevin Garnett all over again, man. Minnesota ain't never going to do what they need to do to get it together.
And that sucks too, man, because you would definitely like to see them do better than what they've been doing.
Right. What's
because
good, family? Go Blue. That being said, that's got to be the one and only Coach V checking in. What up, Coach V? What's going on, man? Yeah, Coach V, quick question. How you think Michigan going to do in that tournament, bro? But, yeah, we definitely want to talk about that a little bit, too, in a minute, y'all. But back to this NBA talk. Then just when you say you can't see nothing more outlandish, that the NBA just on a whole nother level, let us not forget about this dude right here. LeBron James, who at the age of 37, not only went for 50-something that night, but turned around and went for another 50 the next time they played. The first player that age to ever go back-to-back 50-point games. It's just incredible what we're seeing out this dude. Even though his team is not stepping up their game, he is still playing like he is in his prime.
I was just about to say that, man. They ruined this guy MVP candidate type of year, man. If they would have had more games under their belt and was over 500 and was playing better, they definitely would be in a situation where he would be an MVP candidate. He still is in my book. It's just that team, man, it's been disappointing to him, man. And, you know, he's been really pissed off lately in the way they've been playing and the lack of production.
Well, keep in mind, to blame, of course, is his counterparts. You got Russell Westbrook, who is not playing good basketball right now. Because he is Russell Westbrook, he's being allowed to play hardcore minutes, and I don't think he is doing a quality job of doing so. I really would like to see them play Carmelo Anthony more. Hell, they got him come off the bench. I like to see that dude starting. Of course, you got Dwight that's been hurt, and of course, the Tin Man, the Glass Man himself, AD. I don't know what he's going to do. They just put a lot of money to rehab half the season, every season. Like I said, whatever you are doing, LeBron, when the season is over, I need you to take AD and like, look, you coming to live with me, bro. And everything I do, and every workout I do, and everything I eat, every wine I drink, I need you to do the exact same thing. Flat out. Curry playing better in the center in Philly. Yeah, you definitely got to give a shout out to Philadelphia. Now, of course, they got Embiid mixed with the combination of the beard. They definitely putting in some work. But that being said, the other night, again, KD showed up and showed out on them. But no,
yeah, man, they them guys, man.
I gotta give these two their props. Kyrie, remember, he hit him for 60 last night. He went out the game with about 9 minutes left to go. He could have went for 70 easy.
What's crazy to me too, what I look at is it's supposed to only just been the Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving show, and it just became a trade to them getting James Harden, man, and that kind of blew up in their face. But you can see what those guys could do when those two are on the court and they're healthy. KD and Kyrie has been dangerous, and at the same time, you got the other guys you can sprinkle in now, like your Seth Curry's, your Andre Drummonds, who play.
And man, please get Andre Drummond his props. He is definitely doing some work over there. He is definitely an X factor when it comes to that team. You know, he's been the most consistent rebounder in the league since he came in the league. But basically, you got him playing some good defense in the post. You got him basically taking up some quality minutes there in the center position. He ain't been fouling out of games, and he actually been doing a pretty good job of hitting his free throws. I'm proud of Big Dre.
And what's crazy too is the fact that they knew they messed up in Philly, because when Joel Embiid is taking rest, it's like they had Drummond, who could be a shot blocker, grab rebounds, do the dirty work in the post. And now Andre Drummond ain't gonna give them that, man. I mean, not Andre Drummond, DeAndre Jordan. He's not gonna give them that.
Right. And then remember, they still got LaMarcus Aldridge and your boy Blake on the bench. Just still out minutes. That part. But I need you to really think about this here, Hugh. You see that man right there?
Yes, sir.
Do you realize he is only like 73 points away from becoming the second all-time leading scorer in the history of the NBA?
That's incredible, man. But at the same time,
ain't even that dude's primary job. That's the killer part of it. Imagine if he had put in his mind to be a scorer. He probably already did it.
And be more selfish, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll definitely be problems, man. But then you got to give it to him because he's an all-around player, man. He's not a selfish player, and he's a great teammate, and he do the work, man. He put in the work. A lot of people might be like, oh, man, he was too hard on us because he's hard on himself, and he put in the work and dedication, and he just want to be great, and he want the people surrounding him to be the same way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Coach B. The Lakers definitely do. I'd be very surprised they even make the playoffs. And yeah, he also said the big man position is not the same.
That's what I'm like to
at least in the NBA, it's not. I definitely think it is more so to a degree there in college basketball, which we're about to talk about in a second. But again, I understand that LeBron is LeBron, and he is definitely one of the best players ever to play. But I still don't think we really appreciate enough just how good this dude is. If he retires at the end of this year, of course he's not going to, but I'm saying if he did, do you not realize that he will be not only in the top 15 in assists, the top 5 in scoring, but the top 50 in rebounding as well, and top 50 in three-point shots? I mean, them is just stupid numbers. And did it in less games than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Karl Malone.
He put in that work, though, E-Man, so you definitely have to respect everything that man did, and it's well-deserved. People might not like him and like the way he do certain things or how he carry himself, but when it comes to the end of the day, man, I just feel like that, he said he don't think he the best. Well,
of course, that there will always be the argument between him and Jordan because Jordan won 6. He never lost a playoff game, and LeBron has and whatnot. But when you look at the overall body of work, when all is said and done, he's going to have played more games than Michael Jordan. He's going to be more effective in his later years than Michael Jordan. In terms of Michael Jordan's numbers, yeah, he had a very high career average and all of that. He is top 5 scoring of all time, but he does not have all those other accolades that I just mentioned. It's truly an argument whether or not him or LeBron is the best player in the world. 3-4 years ago, I could not make that same argument. And it's definitely, if he ends up adding one more championship at some point, I say they're right there.
I think a lot of people have to argue too, or they had a discussion because they felt like LeBron had super teams and he had like a lot of help. But at the same time, people got to admit when Dennis Rodman built over there, that was somewhat of a super team in Chicago too, So yeah, it's like I just felt like Mike did his work and did what he had to do, and they won a lot of
Right.
championships.
And then of course the argument always comes up. Well, damn, Mike did it with one team. Kareem only went on 2 teams and had 5, and Kareem is the all-time leading scorer and had a whole bunch of blocks and rebounds as well. We don't ever want to throw him in that mix. And of course, to this day, when you look at all the record books in the NBA, who names you see all the time? Oscar Robertson, and of course, the great one, still. We don't ever throw them in that argument. And then we want to talk championships, but
Bill
hey,
Russell.
Bill Russell won 11. He don't never get no love because his stats
Not at all.
indicate that. At some point, we got to consider this whole thing. And the fact that LeBron came into the league with the most hype of any person ever. And not only has he lived up to that hype, I honestly feel like he's exceeded it. Because remember, at this rate of scoring, this time next year, he will be the all-time leading scorer in the NBA history.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to think about.
I still feel like I definitely give him credit for credit was due because he's not a selfish player. And I think Jordan was more of a perennial scorer.
Agreed. Now, I know we want to go on to the tournament in a second, but let me mention some quick things. Hockey. I know that ain't your favorite, Hugh, but I got to mention one thing about hockey this week. Shout out
I can definitely appreciate that.
The great Alex Ovechkin, who just passed Jaromir Jagr for 3rd all-time in scoring at the age of 36, which is still kind of a young man in hockey. It is very much a possibility now that in another 2 more years, he will not only pass the great Gordie Howe, but be right up there with the great one himself. That dude is not getting enough credit out here. And I know part of that's because he's only won the 1 championship, but we got to show some love to Alex Ovechkin, man. He's still doing it at a high level.
Yeah, that's my man. I was so happy he got the championship. It was well deserved, man, because I didn't think he was going to never win a championship.
Yep. So, I know we ain't got a lot of hockey fans in the network, but I was very impressed by that. And, of course, I'm definitely liking the fact that he is speaking out against his own country in regards to the war in Ukraine. I know that might be a little dangerous for him to do, but right is right, is wrong is wrong. So I want to give him credit for that as well.
Yeah, man, because everybody was giving Sidney Crosby all the glory and how great he was. And for him to finally get that championship, that kind of remind me of Stafford, man. Like he had to win to actually get put with the greats.
Wish I could come on, says Coach B. I love hockey, by the way, he says. All right, well, hopefully you love college basketball too. But I think we're ready to talk about that one now, Hugh.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go right into the brackets, man.
All right, well, every year I fill out my bracket. The one thing I can say is that every year I at least get 2 out of the 8 and usually 1 out of the final 4. So I usually do a decent job of filling out the bracket. Basically, going to kind of look into what I did in terms of this year right quick. And, of course, as always, me being me, I filled out both the men's and the women's bracket. Now, of course, I'm not about to go through all 68 teams on both sides. We ain't going to take up that much time. But I will tell you guys that when it came to the Elite 8 in the women's bracket, I came up with South Carolina and Iowa, 1 and 2, Tennessee and Michigan, Stanford and Texas, and Notre Dame and UConn. And let me tell y'all, that's going to be some good games in that Elite 8, okay? Remember, you got South Carolina with Coach Staley. She is an excellent coach. They, of course, have won a national championship there. They are playing Iowa, and Iowa has one of Hugh's favorite players in women's college basketball on that squad. This young lady right here. And, she was on fire in the tournament. She's been on fire all season, really. She got ridiculous Steph Curry type range. I really want to see what type of defense they're going to play on her. Is they going to box and one? Is they going to trap? They definitely going to have to find some way to isolate her. That being said, I think South Carolina wins because they don't have enough big people to stop Boston in the post. That being said, Tennessee and Michigan, I think this is Tennessee's opportunity to get back into the the conversation of being one of the premier programs in women's college basketball. Michigan also has been underrated this year. At one point, they were actually in the top 5. Hamlin for Michigan is a quality player. She will definitely be a top 5 pick in this year's WNBA draft. Check that out. Texas and Stanford, of course. I know you love Stanford, Hugh.
Yeah, Haley Jones, boy.
Yes. Quality player, and they got a couple of good sharpshooters on that squad in Stanford. And, of course, Notre Dame against my UConn Lady Huskies. You know I love my Lady Huskies. Right now they are finally clicking on all cylinders. They are fully healthy for the first time all season. They had a couple of weeks of good quality practice with Paige Beckers. Coach says she's looking great out there. No signs of her favoring the knee or anything like that. It's going to be hell for them first couple rounds because y'all got to come to the Bridgeport, Connecticut to play the UConn Huskies in Connecticut. Yeah, it's going to be a couple big old blowouts. So, bottom line, y'all, Final Four, I got South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas and UConn. Of course, I got UConn and South Carolina in the championship game. And unlike last year when I picked these same 2 teams to be in the finals and picked South Carolina to win, this year I'm picking UConn to win in a close one, 74-71. What do you think of that, Hugh?
You know, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that ending, man. I definitely got South Carolina, man, winning it all, man. And I got them winning. It's going to be a close one, but I have them winning 79-84.
Okay, bottom line, I think it really depends on the big person play. Aaliyah Edwards versus Aaliyah Boston. That's going to be a good matchup, one that we really didn't get when they first played each other early in the year. Remember, when South Carolina played UConn and whooped them by about 20 earlier in the season, Paige was not quite healthy, and some of the big people weren't quite where they needed to be. They are in a lot better shape now, not to mention some of the factors. That is AZ Fudd that did not play that South Carolina game. Yeah, between her and Paige, they're going to have all type of trouble trying to keep both of them in check. And even if they do, don't forget about Deshawn, who was a scorer in her own right. I can't wait to see that game. It got to happen. I love Dawn Stanley. South Carolina winning it all, says Coach V. Basically, when you look at the overall bracket so far, most people have picked either South Carolina or UConn to win in the ladies bracket. Now, should we talk about the men's for a minute, Hugh?
Yeah, I definitely think that South Carolina, because my girl Alea Boston too, but we could get into the men's.
All right. Coach B said watch the SEC in men's basketball. Actually, Coach B, I say watch the Big East in men's basketball. I've been watching quite a Big East and Big Ten basketball this year. The Big East, they got some good teams that's in the tournament. I definitely think they will be a factor. Now, let us look at what I got for the men. Again, we won't give you the first few rounds. We're going to get straight to the Elite Eight, where I got Gonzaga playing Duke straight up. That's going to be a hell of a game, y'all. Remember, the legacy is at stake. Remember, this is actually Coach K's final season, and, of course, he wants to leave out on top with a championship. I think his team will work hard to get to this point, but I think Gonzaga will beat them. The big man play for Gonzaga is probably what's going to do it. They got a couple big men on that squad that I don't know Duke going to be able to really stop. I got Baylor and Purdue coming out the East. I picked Baylor, but I wouldn't be surprised if Purdue wins. Purdue got some guard play, and they're very strong defensively. I got Illinois and Michigan. Keep in mind, 2 Big Ten teams. Yeah, I think I might be pushing a little bit with the Michigan thing. But I actually got Illinois beating them because when they played in the regular season, their big man for Illinois, that monster. And again, basically Dickerson, he couldn't do much with it. I don't see that changing this time either. And of course, out the Midwest, I got Creighton out the Big East playing Auburn. A lot of people picking Auburn as a sleeper pick. I did also pick them to make the Final Four. So in the end, I got Gonzaga and Baylor, Illinois and Auburn in the Final Four. I got Gonzaga beating Baylor in a close one, and I got Auburn beating Illinois. I went with Gonzaga and Auburn in the championship game, and I, much like most of the country so far, is picking Gonzaga to finally do it and win a national championship. What say you, Hugh?
I definitely got Gonzaga because of Timmy and just those guys in general. They don't look like a premier team. They look, I told you before several times, they look like a YMCA team, man. But those guys, they put in work, they work hard. They remind me of a throwback team, man. They're very disciplined and they got what it takes, man. I would like to see the final two be Duke and Gonzaga, for Coach K's sake. But I definitely feel like it's going to be another team that comes out.
Right. Well,
Maybe
remember, I got Gonzaga and Duke playing in the Elite Eight. That's how it's setting up right now. So I think we definitely will get that matchup. It's just like I said, I don't think Coach K gonna come out on top. And unlike your boy Brady, I think he's truly done. I don't see him coming back. Of course, him being Coach K, I can see him hitting the broadcast booth or getting his podcast rolling some more. He also has a podcast on Sirius XM, by the way, Hugh, that I think you would like. Has a lot of people from all different sports come on and talk to Coach K. Some very good conversations. But yeah, it appears. Are you saying you're going with Duke to win it all, Coach B? He said, I think Michigan will meet OSU in the Sweet 16. I did actually pick that matchup in the Sweet 16, and I got Michigan beating OSU. Keep in mind, Michigan struggled at times this year because of COVID. Had some COVID outbreaks. Then, of course, we all know the situation with Coach Howard. And I was very proud of him for coming out and saying the things that he said in regards to how he behaved. He took full responsibility for his actions. He is actually taking not only classes for anger management, but going to therapy as well. He is showing full contrition and showing he is very serious because I think he realized he very well could have possibly lost not only the job at Michigan, but any chance of coaching ever again. And he's taking that very seriously. What do you think about that, you?
he got to be wise in that situation too, man. You can cooler heads prevail, and you can't make those decisions. I know some of the emotions was from his old playing days, but at the same time, you got to lead by example. You got to be a different person as a coach. I still feel like I was disappointed in the season and how they played, but at the same time, with the guys being healthy and playing on a high level, I believe that they can go as far as they would like to go, man. But it's just that to see Juwan Howard now being a better man and a better coach on that level, I had to tilt my hat off to him because, we all make mistakes and we do things off emotion sometimes. And we don't think about it until we did it, and then that's where consequences come in. But I still feel like with a motivated team, man, they're going to be a dangerous team. And I would like to see them go to the Sweet 16 with E. I'm going to even go as far as I can see them boys make it into the Elite Eight.
Well, that's basically where I got them going. So my whole thing is this. This is some opportunities for people, okay? And there's only two concerns I have. One, obviously, the fact that we still have COVID. And, just as recently as yesterday, the vice president's husband contracted COVID. And a couple of days ago, former President Obama had COVID. So it's still prevalent out here. And my concern is that one team, because there are no protocols in regards to COVID this year, no bubbles, no nothing, that they'll get to that point in the tournament and then COVID takes over and it basically makes it to where they have to step out. We seen that last year in the tournament, and I hated that. I really would hate to see that this year, man.
One thing I wanted to see happen, Ian, not to cut us off, man, let me hit you with an audible. I feel like big ups to the Buccaneers doing the right thing. They signed Chris Godwin to a 3-year, $60 million contract.
Despite the fact he was injured, yeah, I definitely think that is based on the fact that they know he is a quality receiver. He is probably their number one for sure at this point. And they basically paying that man what it's worth. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
25-year-old making $60 million and $40 million fully guaranteed. So big ups to that brother, man. I didn't expect to see that.
Shout out to the GOAT Tom Brady for not jacking them up and demanding more money on his end. So it made it possible for them to sign Godwin for that $20 million.
They did a lot of tricky moves, man. They restructured Brayton contract when he signed the 2 years just recently. They restructured Shaq Barrett's contract. And now they got my man's Chris Godwin back. And I didn't even think I was thinking they're going to keep playing games with this man and probably have him come back on one of those franchise tags. But I think that they learned from last year, man, because it was just devastating to see him go down and get hurt like that. But then that's good that they finally did the right thing and stepped up, though.
Right. But yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to the tournaments tomorrow and the days to come. I need some people to step up and show out, so we can have some definite understanding who should be the number 1 through 12 pick. Because right now I don't have that. I have no idea who the Pistons should take. I know the Pistons going to end up with a lottery pick, but I couldn't tell you for sure. I definitely want to see them take this guy, that guy. There is no, basically in this draft coming up, I don't see any Shaqs, no KG, no no big quality franchise players coming out of this thing. Whoever comes out, they're gonna be a good player, but they're gonna require some development. Same with the NFL draft. I don't see any. Okay, we got to take this dude. This dude is a definite Hall of Famer one day. I don't see any of that coming out of NFL draft. What do you think, Hugh?
NFL draft, I see a lot more wide receivers. I see a lot more tight ends and a lot more defensive players coming out and going to be good. But I don't see that sure thing. We don't have a Khalil Mack or an Aaron Donald or some of the guys that
or
we had.
Luck or somebody like that. Exactly.
Yeah. The guys that we see who we said we knew were going to be special, like what I told you earlier, E. I said the Bills are making really good moves, but one guy who disappointed me was Ed Oliver. He was the guy who they were comparing to Aaron Donald 2.0, and that guy haven't lived up to his expectation. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come back next year. And that's how I'm looking
at one point there in Houston. They was talking about he was going to be the number 1 player drafted. He was that impressive at one point, but now we got this. So, but then if you look at some of the recent number 1 draft picks, I mean, hell, look at Baker Mayfield. I'm not impressed with that dude. Are you?
Man, I was disappointed, man. I had so much high hopes on him, E, man. That's why I think you threw that to me right there. You threw that dime to me just to bash this man a little more. I really had faith in that man and thought that he was going to really do something. And to see him not do what I thought he was going to do was very disappointing, E. And you could blame it on the injuries or anything you want. He basically only showed flashes maybe last year to me, and he did okay for the few games when they didn't have tape on him or the video when he first came after, the injury to Tyrod Taylor. But I don't really think that he did anything to be proven. It was just Tyrod Taylor just didn't do enough to keep that starting role. So, yeah, I definitely want him to do better as a number 1 because I feel like he basically right now was the biggest number 1, but one of the biggest number 1 busts I've seen who actually took the field and had a few years under his wing, because we're not going to get into the Jamarcus Russell and a lot of those guys. We're going to talk about the guys who actually put out and showed flashes of production but didn't do what they could do or we thought that they'll be able to do.
Right. Okay. One quick question I want to throw out there before we get to wrapping it up. That over there in the NBA, you got Zion back over there with the Pelicans and said that maybe even as early as next week, he going to play a little bit. Should we expect anything out of him this year? Or is this just basically him trying to earn his little money?
I think that right now he's just in a situation where he's trying to gain some of the money back that he lost, because right now he's starting to become one of those guys who I feel like who was a bust. And but we talked about it before. You said Zion was. We thought that he was going to do well coming out of Duke.
I did.
But him falling that one game and his shoe exploding was one thing. But he was always out of shape, and he didn't do well when he had the opportunities. And now he's basically exposed as a bust at that, because now just think about if Ja was number 1 and he was number 2, I still feel like it would have been high expectations on Zion, but he's just not living up to them right now. So I'm hoping for his sake that he can get a nutritionist, lose some weight, get in the best shape that he could possibly be, and be the player that we know he can be. Because the only thing that's really holding him back is not his talent, is him being out of shape and not being prepared.
And again, when we got AD going to live with LeBron this summer, I need him to call LeBron and say, you got some other room in the other house, and I need that dude to go train with LeBron too. I think if he worked with LeBron, and he could get him in that type of shape where he still would be a relatively bigger man, but with some of that explosiveness that LeBron has, and actually work on some of them shooting, he could be a monster, man. And speaking of monsters, we got the two going at it right now out there in Brooklyn. You got KD going against Luka, and it's 100-202 with 3 minutes left. So after we check out of here, I definitely want to see the rest of that game.
Oh, for sure. I definitely will check that out.
Yep, and of course we got the playing games going on. Notre
They
Dame.
tied now, E.
All right, Notre Dame and Rutgers early on 17-15. I might tune in for a little bit of that. Wright State has made their way into the Elite Eight, take that butt whooping. So, to the tournament, I should say. Bottom line, y'all, it's a lot of sports going on. It's a lot to check into. I know we went over a lot tonight, but if you want to keep a little better handle on it, y'all know what to do. Tell them about it, Hugh.
Man, I'm not gonna keep telling y'all, man. Y'all gotta hit that purity of the game if y'all want y'all sports fix. Because when I'm not on here doing the podcast, man, I'm laying it down, doing the blog and giving y'all all that fresh news. Like right now, I didn't even hear the ring from ESPN, so y'all got it from me first. The Chris Godwin 3-year, $60 million deal. Y'all'll probably see it pop up on your phone in a couple minutes, but I bring the news daily.
Right,
before anyone else. I usually get the scoop on with
that news has not been popping on. That has not been a breaking news story here on the thing yet. So yeah, he's absolutely right.
Get on that page, man.
Definitely check it out. And of course,
people be slipping. Man.
Next week we will be talking.
I had to tell people at the job to get on finally.
Yeah, of course, next week we're gonna be talking more trades, more incoming MLB season. We probably at some point will be able to talk about this guy because he is scheduled to play sometime this week. It's a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. They were saying that just recently he got a back injection. Here it go. He's been basically getting treatment now because they were saying that he had like irritated discs in his spine. And, he basically was receiving, everything to get, his back in check, to try to get him out there on the court. I'm just hoping that man can definitely, make a splash and do something for that team because I feel like he don't have to be a sharpshooter or shoot threes and, be one of those like cerebral guys on the court. He don't need to be a KD or a Kyrie. He can be himself.
Right. Yeah, you see that? Yeah, Coach B, we got you, bro. We'll hook you up.
Okay, I'll definitely hit you up on the messenger.
Right.
But yeah, man, I still feel like Ben Simmons can contribute to that team to win a championship, man.
Right. Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at the box score.
He said they need to make the playoffs next year.
Right. The Nets been looking pretty decent tonight.
Mike, who was talking about when you said they need to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You talking about the Pelicans?
Yeah, I mean, right now you got KD with 20, Brown with 17, Drummond with 14 and 17 rebounds. You got the Dragon Dragic with 19, Patty Mills and threw up 9, and K. Edwards with 12. Not bad. Blake still not playing.
I keep forgetting Dragic over there.
So yeah, that's some balanced scoring attack. Meanwhile, looking at the box score for Dallas right quick. You got your boy Doncic with 33, 8 and 8, putting up some nice numbers. Are you talking about Zion instead?
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. This is hope that he could get in shape, man, and just be more disciplined because they got a pretty decent team over there, man. And that's what I was looking at, man. Like, man, they got the talent over there and definitely getting, CJ McCollum. Yeah, I definitely feel like they can be a great team over there, man. It's all up to him because I remember seeing a big three, man, with CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and him. And I was like, only if, man, Zion can stay healthy and get himself in shape and to play at that high level, man, I would definitely like to see that, man, because they got the talent around.
Right. And Lord knows, you got to give a little credit to that team known as the Portland Trail Blazers. They've been a very scrappy bunch over there. It's a possibility that they may mess around and make the playoffs, despite the fact they didn't trade half the team and of course you got Dame Dollar out pretty much for the season. I'm just amazed at what they've been accomplished. Shout out to that coach Chauncey Billups that's helping them make them believe that they can still make things happen.
Yeah, for all the doubters who was disrespecting him and calling them out about past activities and not focusing on him being the coach and doing his job. And, they want to bring that up. And for this man, regardless to go through all that and to still be able to go out, concentrate on a team who's definitely been underachieving, but it's been through like a lot of injuries and a lot of things going on. And the perseverance is to still go through that and to be who they are and to be in the position they in. I only see a better future for Chauncey Billups and the Portland Trail Blazers, man. Let's just hope that he could get that team intact, man. I just want them to get a solid piece here and there, get some guys over there who can help them compete. Because what I look at right now is they always seem like they'll have a good team and they'll blow it up somehow, man. And it's like they start from scratch all the time. And we talked about it before, man. Just imagine if Jokic would have stayed over there, man, and, if he would have had the opportunity to play with C.J. McCollum and to play with, Dame in the shape he's in right now, because he had to actually get in shape. And big ups to him before the bubble really popped off that season, man. We seen that dude drop like 40, 50 pounds just out of nowhere. Right. But he knew that he had to do that to be the player he is. And I'm glad that he did what he did to be in the position he's in right now, man. But, yeah, I definitely would like to see that team, Portland, succeed. But,
right. I mean, bottom line, Dame Dollar, that's my guy, and I just feel like he deserved better, man, flat out. Not to mention the fact that, remember, Jeremy Grant was on that squad at one point, too.
Yeah, he was, man.
But, yeah, that being said, y'all, we about to get up out of here. We done ran over the time and everything. Anything you want to say before we go, Hugh?
Man, we just enjoyed being on here, man. There was a lot of goody news coming out, man. Hopefully we have some more stuff, for y'all by next Wednesday. But you already know, man, when we're not on the show, man, stay tuned. Hit that Pure to the Game podcast on, man. I'm always be coming with the news, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, whatever news you need to know. I should be on there, because until I don't see no news that's worthy of me staying up, I possibly might go to bed. But until then, stick on that page, because I'm going to be up at least till midnight posting news.
Right. And remember, Hugh has called us out, said start putting some comments on some of these transactions so he know that we're paying attention and whatnot. So I'm definitely going to make sure I do that. Y'all do the same, all right? With that being said, we about to head up out of here. Great show, Hugh. Great job as always, sir. We will check back in with y'all next week. Again, it's going to be a lot to talk about, so tune on in. We appreciate all of y'all. Shout out to Coach B. Good looking out, Coach. Shout out to Rose.
Yeah, take care. Big ups, Mike, man. Appreciate you as well.
Thank you,
Always
sir.
love Rose.
Much love for our person, Rose. The one of the key people in the Nighthawk Network behind the scenes. Definitely got to give you your flowers, my friend. But that being said, we're about to head out, y'all. Throw up the fingers here. You know what to do. There they go. Peace. Gametime Audible is a Nighthawk Network.